In this video, I'll be showing you my home film scanning process. As you can see, I have quite a bit of film that I need to scan, but today we'll be scanning some 4x5 slide film. Slide film is really pretty to look at in a light box, but it can prove some difficulties while scanning, and I'll show you my process for dealing with those difficulties. As you can see, they are quite nice to look at. Notice, however, highlights can be blown and shadows can be too dark, even for this camera recording. That is true also when scanning, but there is amazing detail when you zoom in closely through a loop, like this. This one I'll be scanning a picture of a Chinese restaurant. I'm using a Epson V800 film holder for my Epson V700 scanner. It puts A&R glass in that needs a little bit extra cleaning, but it gives you a little bit sharper scan. The cleanliness of your scanner is also super important, so make sure you clean that off as best you can with canned air. Notice here that I have these little tabs. I have to make sure they're all on the same height because they're going to actually calibrate the focus of the scanner. I'm scanning using a software called Silverfast. It gives me a lot of control over the way that the final image looks. As you can see, I'm adjusting all of the black and white levels in all of the color channels. This gives me the best detail. I'm also going to enable the multi-scan function. This does 2 scans for my film, one at a different setting, pulling in more shadow detail that could be lost otherwise. It does, however, take an additional amount of time in actually scanning the film. And off we go. Next, I'm just pulling into Photoshop, and the first thing I always want to do is remove all dust and other defects that you found when scanning. Some of these are from the dip and dunk process that was used for processing the film, and others are just small areas of dust or other areas where I overscanned the image. It's really important to remove these because I later use luminosity masks, and this will show up in all of my masks if I do not remove the dust carefully. Which takes a little bit of time, but it's always an important step. Next is to kind of create some basic adjustments for the image, just to make sure it kind of gets a little bit closer where I want, and then into luminosity masks. You notice there that it allows me to adjust just certain parts of the image based on how bright or dark they are. Makes it really easy to correct for color cast and the shadows when bringing those up, or to give highlights a little bit of pop. Next, I kind of pull it into Adobe Camera Raw. This gives me some extra controls both for colors and some other things like contrast and clarity, which are not always the easiest to adjust in Photoshop. It's super great for adjusting colors and getting accurate results. Next is just zooming in and doing some additional dodging and burning that I wasn't able to accomplish with luminosity masks. This can take some extra time, but can pull in some extra vital details that would have been lost otherwise. The way that I'm doing dodging and burning is using different masks and overlays. I can always go back and edit my dodge and burn if I ever feel it's too strong, instead of kind of baking it directly into the image. Here I found that my dodge and burn is a little bit too strong in this area, so I kind of redone it to make sure I can get the exact amount that I want. Next is sharpening. I convert to black and white first, because when using the high pass sharpening method, this allows you to push it a little bit further and get a little more detail out of your image without it getting halos. It's always important to zoom in and zoom out and make sure the sharpening looks exactly how you want it. Finally is just cropping, getting rid of a little bit of those edges that I had from overscanning, a little bit of extra correction. A quick double check through, just to make sure I didn't miss any dust, or apply any extra sharpening that I might need on some fine details. And finally, the final product. I think it came out pretty well. I was able to pull out some deep shadow detail that was almost lost in the roof of the building, while still keeping the highlights bright and crisp. I think it overall gives a very accurate representation of what the side looks like on a light table. Hope you've enjoyed this look into my scanning process.